Hi Lana, how's it going?
Hi, Raffy. It's good. It's going. How about you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for taking the time out to me. I'm a big fan and I've loved this franchise since it started, so it's an honor to talk to you.
Of course. My pleasure's all mine.
So just to begin things, speaking as an Asian American viewer myself, what I love the most about the Covey family and then the film franchise is that obviously Asian voices and Asian faces are centered, but it's not about being Asian. It's just like everybody else, we fall in love, we get our hearts broken. And I was wondering if you talk a little about what it's like being part of such a popular, beloved franchise that brought Asian Americans to the center, and what's that been like having that impact with viewers, Asian American
Yeah.
viewers, for the past few years.
I mean, I think you hit it right on the head. One of the things that I love the most about these films is that it normalizes seeing Asian Americans in, mainstream media, and it's a story about friendship and love, and their 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 Asianness is very much part of their identity and is who they are, but it's not constantly like reminding the audience that don't
Mhm.
forget, they're Asian. Don't forget this fact because we all know it. And I
Yeah.
think that there's like it's a nuanced way of making films that I think we need to do more of. And for me, I feel like my mission and in my career is to continue doing stories that um, make just normalize like seeing someone that looks like us in a
Mhm.
leading role falling in love. Like I think that's brilliant. And Jenny Han always says, she said from the beginning, she was like, like Asian people can fall in love too. And
Mhm.
I was like,
Mhm.
yeah, that's true.
Mhm.
But I think in terms of impact, um, you know, I it is my greatest honor and pleasure to um be telling these stories, and never ever do I feel people always ask like, do you get stressed out, are you nervous about representing the community when it comes to these leading roles? And of course not. Like this
Mhm.
is my duty, I feel like, as an
Mhm.
actress. So I just I'm so grateful to all the filmmakers and the people who believe that it's possible. And I definitely see a shift in the industry. I think it's baby steps, of course, but I do see a shift, and that's exciting for me. Like the scripts that I've been getting ever since these movies have come out make me feel very hopeful for the future.
And we love to see it. I can't wait for the future too. And compared to the first movie to this movie, Laura Jean has had like uh complete change in character. Like she wasn't so confident, but now I feel like in the third one she's more
Yeah.
confident. She's making decisions for herself, and that's always a good message for especially young Asian girls to see that you should be able to put yourself first in what you want to do in life. So, can you talk a little about that and the joy was playing just a fully rounded character and getting to see her journey and evolution these past
Yeah.
2 years?
Yeah. I mean, it's like the ultimate glow up. I feel like the first and the second movie, she's choosing between boys and relationships,
Mhm.
which is, accurate to the genre of a rom-com, but and totally appropriate. But I think that what was so important to me was for the third movie was for her to now choose her future and choose herself and choose what makes her come alive, and that was the most important part because I wanted to show people that, like, I think oftentimes, we give ourselves away to so many people and we completely neglect our own needs.
Mhm.
And I want people to feel empowered to make these choices, especially as an Asian American. I think there's a real sense of like, model minority where it feels like, oh, I have to do everything a specific way. And maybe I don't follow my heart and maybe I follow certain expectations of me. And I think that in this movie, it shows like, no, we have to follow our hearts with friendships, with love, with relationships, with success, with jobs, with, everything in our future. So hopefully that comes across. But it is important. It's a very important part of our movies for sure, particularly this one.
I feel like I really did come across. I got that perfectly, and this third one is like my favorite out of all of them so far. So you really knocked it out of the park.
Thank you so much.
Well, I'm getting the rap signal, but thank you again so much, Lana. I can't wait for people to see it. Congrats.
Thank you so much.
I know. How's it going?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for taking the time out to talk to me. I've been a big fan for years, and I love the franchise, so it's nice to get to talk to you.
Oh, thank you so much. I love your room. You have like the constellation thing. That's great.
Yeah, she's all over Twitter. Thank you. My first question is, speaking as an Asian American viewer and just like a fan of the franchise, what I love the most about To All the Boys I Loved Before is that how modern and fresh and it all seems. There's obviously Asian voices and Asian faces, but there's also queer characters, strong women. So I was wondering what your thoughts were about being a part of a project that feels so fresh and so modern, especially in this day and age when we don't see that. I feel like we're just starting to see that more and more.
Totally. It's great. I feel like there's a bit of a renaissance happening, and I think I got very lucky. It was in the right place at the right time. It was kind of just, it's above me, and I'm super grateful to be a part of it because it's important to not just live out your passions, but I think to have a higher purpose in what it is that you do. And some people don't have the opportunity to have a higher purpose. They kind of just have to take what's given to them. And for me personally, with All the Boys, I was in that position, and I just happened to land the right job that, I could at least do some little part in moving the envelope.
Mm. And over the past 3 years, that's so weird to say. That's like it's been 3 years since the first one came out.
Yeah.
I can't imagine all the pressure you must have been at being a romantic lead in like a popular, beloved franchise. So, reflecting on it now that we're in the home stretch, do you feel like relieved? Like, how are you feeling now that the journey's almost over and we made it to where we are now?
I don't know. It's interesting because I never really felt a lot of pressure. He was always very fun. He was always very like lighthearted, even when we were working on set. I think the most the hardest part, the most like fearful part of it was the first one. Getting the character right. Doing a good job that first day on set. And once we lock in the character, it kind of got a lot easier from there. And letting go and saying goodbye now, it feels right. That's a part of life is letting go of things, good things, when it's the time and when it's their time to be over and to pass. And so it all feels good. I think we gave everything that we could to the narrative, to Lara Jean, to Peter, to the whole story. So being able to say goodbye in this way, it feels like of always to say goodbye. This just feels really good.
And speaking of that, you've like embodied Kavinsky the past 3 years. What have you admired most about him and his journey over these past 3 movies, and what are you going to miss the most about him now that, like I mentioned, we're at the end?
Yeah, I'd say that I really I admire how brave he is. He's very courageous when he's looking at his own demons, and looking past himself too, not just with Lara Jean, but with relationships in his life. I think bravery is not someone who's brave is not someone who lacks fear entirely, but being someone who's brave means that you have the courage to persevere despite there being fear. And he's not afraid. He's afraid, but he's not. He's courageous enough to take on his fears, and that's something that I deeply admire about him.
And it's something that fans love to see. And I can't wait for them to see the movie.
Oh, thanks. Me neither.
Yeah, that's all the questions I have left. But thank you so much again. And I love the hair too. We met on the Charlie's Angels set a couple years ago when we both had buzz cuts. So you grew your hair out, but I stayed the same.
Oh, hell yeah, man! Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Bye-bye.
Hi, everybody. Hi. Thank you for taking the time out to talk to me, and congratulations on the film.
Thank you.
My first question is for Janelle. The Covey family is my favorite. And speaking as like an Asian American viewer, what I appreciate most about the film franchise is that there's obviously Asian voices and Asian faces are centered, but like the entire series isn't about being Asian. They're just Laura Jean just gets to fall in love and like go through these trials and tribulations like any other teenager. So I was wondering if I could get your thoughts on what it was like being a part of a project that so brings Asian Americans to the forefront, but also let's just like be in love and be like everyone else, basically.
Like you hit the nail on the head. It's one of my favorite things when I read the script was I loved that. Yes, we are Asian American faces and voices, and Laura Jean is Asian American, which is so huge for being inclusive and representation. But it isn't just focused on that, it's normalized. It's not a huge thing. It's just, it's our story. It's her story. And she happens to be Asian American, and that is normal. And that feels like the biggest step for us and is so exciting because she just happens to be an Asian American girl and we're telling her story just like everybody else. And I loved that.
We love to see it. And Anna, you've it's already been 3 years since like the first film premiered, which is like crazy to think about. But and you've grown with Kitty, obviously playing her for the last 3 years. What do you admire most about Kitty, and what are you gonna miss now that we're in the home stretch and the final movie's coming out soon?
Yeah, I admire so many things about Kitty. I think something that I could definitely learn from her, and I think a lot of us can, is she's so confident in herself, and I find that she knows what she wants, she knows who she is, and she knows how to get that, and she isn't afraid to show that and to be that. Like in the third movie, she wants to wear a tuxedo to the wedding, and Laura Jean's like, "Oh my gosh, no! Like we need to wear dresses," and she's like, "No, I know what I want, and I can do that. Like I want to be myself, and I'm not afraid of it," which I think is something so cool that so many of us can learn from her. But I love Kitty and all of her little witty remarks, and I will miss her so much.
And Janelle, same question for you. You played Margot for the past 3 movies now. So, what do you admire most about Margot, and you're gonna miss about her now that we're on at the end?
No, it's so bittersweet. I love Margot. She is so different from me, which honestly I will miss because it was really fun playing a character that's the opposite of me. One thing that I really love about her and I'll miss playing is how she's like mama bear. You know, I'm the baby sister in real life, and honestly, Anna and Lana have made me feel like a real life big sister, and I've loved stepping into that role. And that's something that I'll miss. I love how protective Margot is of her family and how she'll do anything to take care of them.
Well, like I said, it was nice getting to see like an Asian American family just be normal. It's not like a culture war. It's not like a clash of cultures, and it's like so refreshing to see, especially since mainstream rom-coms are so overwhelmingly white, and we don't often get that. So I'm gonna miss it. I can't wait for fans to see it too. That's all the questions I have left. But thank you, Queens, again.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Have a good rest of your day. Hi guys, how's it going?
Hi, nice
Hey.
to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Thank you for taking the time out to talk to me. So, if we could just get into this, my first question is for Ross. Speaking as an Asian American viewer myself, what I like most about the franchise is that it centers Asian voices and Asian faces, but it has like nothing to do with being Asian. Like it just like Asian American, like everyone else, Asian Americans fall in love, get our hearts broken, we go through ups and downs. So, what is it like being a part of this project and like getting to bring Asian American voices to the forefront, like over the past couple of years?
I mean, it's been great that over this franchise and also like a couple other things. I think the main thing you said is that we're Asian characters, but it isn't. We're not Asian. You know, in this movie, it shows more of like the connection with Lara's Korean descent, and I think that's also equally important. But also, it isn't our defining trait. So to be like someone at the forefront of this and just like representing, it's an honor, and it's having a lot of fun and just showing that you know, we have feelings too. Get our hearts broken all the time.
Some more than others. Madeleine, you've been Chris for the past since the beginning of the franchise, and she's hysterical. She's like the best friend I wish I had when I was in high school. So now that we're coming to the home stretch, what did you admire most about playing Chris, and what are you gonna miss most about her now that it's coming to an end? The journey's done.
Oh, I'm gonna miss. So what I admire her gumption. I think it's big. I like how she is who she is, and she doesn't apologize for it. And I'm gonna miss playing, getting to act every day with everyone, getting to act with Ross. We did a lot of fun improv. We really like stayed on our toes with Lana, with everyone. Just the everyday and getting to explore Chris's sense of humor, which was very quirky and fun to play with. So I'll miss all that.
Oh, and Ross, same question for you. What do you admire most about Trevor? You played him in the past 2 movies, and what are you gonna miss the most about all this now that we're wrapping?
Yeah, I just admire how Trevor goes for it. Like he isn't apologetic for anything he does, and he doesn't really fear rejection. I feel like
Mhm.
so he's very persistent. So yeah, and then also yeah, of course, just this is one of the only projects I've done where I can truly improvise with my castmates and have some of it make it to the movie and not just say a bunch of lines. So yeah, no, I'll miss this process because it was one of a kind for sure.
Mhm. And the fans will miss it too, and I can't wait for them to see it because I think this third movie is like my favorite one out of all of them. So y'all really knocked it out of the park.
Awesome.
Aw, that's so kind of you.
Well, that's all the questions I have left. Thank you guys again so much for taking the time.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You
Love
too.
the purple light, by the way.
Oh, thank you. It's from Amazon. Hi, Jenny. How's it going?
Hi, how are you, Raffy?
I'm so good. Thank you for taking the time out to talk to me. I know things are crazy and hectic, and the world is like on fire still, but it's always nice to connect and talk to people.
Definitely, my pleasure.
If we just want to get things started, one of my favorite things about the To All the Boys franchise is like how I feel like it's a realistic portrayal of like what modern high school friendships look like. There's obviously Laura Jean is an Asian lead, but there's like queer characters, there's other characters of color. Laura Jean has complex, authentic relationships with her sisters and other female characters. So I was wondering, if you could talk a little about creating that world and what it was like showcasing like what like a modern, like realistic high school looks like, especially since the teen rom-com genre used to be so overwhelmingly white, overwhelmingly straight. So.
Yeah, that was really fun to be able to do that. And I think for when I wrote the books, it takes place in a small town in Virginia, which is not that diverse. And a big part of the story is that Laura Jean feels a bit on the outside, in part because she's not as in touch with her Asian identity because her mom was really that link and her mom has passed away. And so what was great for the films was, setting it in Portland, it felt really natural to it to have a diverse cast. And I think that was really cool, especially because our whole cast is super talented, and like it was fun to kind of like, especially with like Ross Butler, and bring him in the mix. He's always got like great energy, and got to really elevate his part. But I think all in all, it's great for a movie in 2021 to be able to show, I guess, like a bigger spectrum of high school life.
Mm-hmm. And speaking of that, what I also appreciate about Laura Jean and her story is that in the movies especially, she's proud of her Asian roots and she doesn't like shun from it, but her character isn't the sum total. It's not the sum total of her, you know what I mean? She's more than that. And sorry. It's not like the movie isn't about like a culture clash. It's literally about this getting to see an Asian girl falling in love, like not like every other teen. So it was that like just to I guess also bring that to the world and show that
it was really important for me to be able to just show a character's humanity, and not be, I think oftentimes when the main character of a story is not white, then people are like, well, why do they have to be another race? I mean, that's a question that I've been asked. Like, why does she have to be Asian if it's not really important to the storyline? And I'm like, well, why does she have to be white? Do you know what I mean? Like, why do you have to justify our existence just to be in a love story? And that was for me the kind of the point of it. Was it really wasn't about being Asian. I think that there's so much more to people than just that, and I wanted to be able to explore her identity as a whole, and that's a piece of it, but that's not like the whole point of it. And I think for a long time we've only been shown stories where when we get to see somebody who is a person of color in a film, it's all about their pain and their struggle and coming to terms with that identity. And I think I just wasn't interested in doing that with this one.
Well, it's nice and refreshing to see. Like, it's nice to see as an Asian American viewer too. It's just like, I want to fall in love. I want to.
Yeah, exactly. And I also want to see. I do want to see stories about pain and struggle, but I don't think everything that we see when it comes to seeing a non-white face should be about, should be the narrative of somebody really going through a hard time because of their racial identity.
Exactly. Well, I can't wait for people to see it, and you created such an amazing world and amazing story, and congratulations again.
Thank you so much.